Hello, welcome to Shooting the Shit on another International Women's Day. Do you know, girls, this is our second International Women's Day special that we've done now, so that's good, isn't it?
Wow, that is good.
So this is going to be an annual special event, what we does do, because we does love women. And today we are talking about International Women's Day, but International Women's Day in relation to the workplace, because for the uninitiated, the theme for International Women's Day this year is break the bias, like that. It's not X Factor, absolutely not X Factor. It's break the bias. And obviously, you can break the bias in whatever walk of life you want to do. So we want to break the bias in the workplace. So we are actually going to talk about some things that we have covered in the past, but with the International Women's Day twist. So Hannah, got anything interesting planned for International Women's Day?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to smash the shit out of this bias, me. Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to go and do.
Marvelous. You're going to walk around all day like this.
Bias.
Be gone. Bias, be gone.
And bang, the bias was gone. If you listen on the podcast, this is going to be super fucking confusing. But
we are doing the ban the bias symbol, yeah.
Yeah, watch it on the Facebook because sense.
That's really tickled me.
Okay. Well, that sounds like an exciting day. Reece, your plan. Anything
Sorry, that's really tickled me. I really enjoyed that. This is a very serious subject. So within seconds, we're already ripping the piss out of it.
Well, I mean, come on, this is essentially what we do, isn't it?
Actually crying.
This is what we do.
Oh, God above.
Move on. I won't be doing anything tomorrow because every day is International Women's Day for me.
Yes!
Getting the bias all over the joint. So come on.
There's no bias to banish in your house.
Exactly. But joking aside, it's something that we're faced with every day, right? So I appreciate there needs to be a day to kind of really bring it home, so that everyone gets on the same, understands it and gets the exposure of what it is that we're going through. But even in the last week, I've been, subjected to some absolute bullshit from, men that I would think were, I thought better of, quite frankly, in terms of their attitude and things like that. So I'm well on this bandwagon this week. Pure rant. Good. Come on.
I would just like to say as well, about 30 seconds ago, Reece went, I've not really got anything to contribute to this.
She does this every week. I don't know anything about this subject. Camera turns on.
I had to think about it. I've got plenty in here. In here.
I mean, that's the thing, though. It's like all the other. It's like Valentine's Day, isn't it? Why do we need a special day to celebrate our love for someone? We should love them all year long. And like somebody's anniversary, why do we need to mark it then when I miss them every day of all the whole year? So you're absolutely right. Why do we need a special day for women? And this is the one that's always trotted out by men, isn't there? Why isn't there an International Women's Day or an International Men's Day? There is. It's in November. So yeah, shut up. But yeah, you get the other 365 days. So let us have this one bloody day to talk about feminism and equality and all the rest of it. The thing that does slightly worry me, though, is that, in recent years, the International Women's Day organization have got their shit together in terms of the social media and the campaigns and stuff. But when are they going to run out of symbols of what we can do? If we did all of the recent International Women's Day symbols, we would seriously look like we were voguing, wouldn't we?
Every year we could do like I don't know, like clap for clitorises or
Wow. Oh my God.
Women for wangs.
Oh no.
B for vaginas. Yeah, it's getting silly now. I do worry though. You know, I do worry every year. The women who sit in that meeting each year must be shitting their pants about what they've got to come up with next. But anyway, we're not here to talk about that. So, what is International Women's Day? It's actually been going since the 1970s. It's a UN recognized day, and it is when we celebrate women and we talk about feminism, and we have a campaign, and we talk about gender inequality and pay inequality and just all the general bullshit that women face on an everyday basis. So I have 3 icebreaker questions for you girls. Question number 1: how many more times do you think that men interrupt other men than women? Sorry, no, how many times do men interrupt women than interrupt other men?
What, in an average hour?
In a workplace setting. Well, actually, per day.
I haven't got enough pens, paper, and pencils to record that shit. Honestly, right? I will rant. I will.
Yeah.
The thing is, right? I don't. What is it? What is that? Like, you know, that means it's okay that you can just kind of interrupt somebody speaking and just like override with, you know, whatever they're saying, you know, because what you've got to say is significantly more important, when actually you're probably just repeating what I said but in a slightly different way and claiming it for yourself. That's
exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what the number of times that I listen to people say, well, actually interrupt me and then say back to me exactly what I've just said to them. Like, that is literally what I've just said to you. But I must be honest, I didn't realize that this was a feminist thing for quite a long time. It was only probably when I was in my 20s that I clocked on that this was happening to me because I was a woman. I just thought people were rude, and it was only when I got into workplace settings and I watched people in meetings and like how they behaved, and I thought, oh my god, this is only happening to me or to the women in the room. This isn't universal. Men do not do this to each other. But it's bonkers.
And if you go, sorry, can I just finish? Then they go,
yeah.
Oh, I'm past that. If I get to that point, I don't give a fuck. I'm livid. If I have to say, let me finish, that's it. It's game over. Right. I am angered to within an inch of my life, and I'm just trying not to tear you a new arsehole at that point. So
it is that thing, isn't it? Because I mean, my reaction often is, all right, I'm checking out of this conversation. I can't be arsed. I haven't got the energy anymore to have this battle every single time. So if you want to talk over me, fine, carry on. I'm going to go off and I'm going to do it anyway. Or I'm going to do something else. But that does not break the bias. You know,
I think
acquiescing is not good, is it?
No, but it's like, you know, you've kind of, you know, I take your point. You kind of have to choose your battles, right? Because it's fucking exhausting, you know. Like, if we, you know. So go on, Hannah.
I think that's the point of International Women's Day, though. Like, on today of all days, don't just like sit down and shut up. Like, break the bias, challenge that stereotype. You know,
listen.
Yeah, I think that is it. I think, you know, on just this one day, let's just not fucking settle for it.
Let us fucking talk. Yeah, the answer, just for the thing, is three times more often men interrupt women than they will interrupt other men. Okay, question number 2. In a study of performance reviews, what...
Rachel? Oh, I don't think she can...
Oh, yes, go on, Rach. I can't see
interrupting.
I know, I was very conscious then to put my hand up and it didn't fucking work. So
no, when I'm reading a thing, I can't see the screen. That's the only time. The rest of the time it works. Carry on, Rach.
I see. No, I just want to bring it to the attention. And yeah, I know we've talked about it before, and you know, we've come up with these like, well, what do we do about it? But you know, we in this conversation here today also come from a level of age. You know, we've been doing it a long time, so therefore, and you know, confidence and you know, owning businesses and being in positions where we can kind of speak out. So we just kind of have to, you know, mention the fact that it's not always so easy, but in the interest of ranting and making this fun, you know, then that's what we'll do. So carry on.
Yeah, I do think Yeah, you're right. It behoves us to stand up for other women, though, doesn't it? Like you're right.
Exactly,
We are
yeah.
the older
Yeah.
ones. We're in
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
positions of
for
power.
sure.
So actually, if we see younger people, younger girls who are less, the admin girl, for example, being spoken over, it is up to us in that situation to go, hang on, can you just let her finish a fucking sentence, please?
Yeah,
you're
I think
right.
that's
Sure.
the thing. Like, don't pull the ladder up behind you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, for
Absolutely.
sure. Sorry,
Okay, right.
next
I'm
one.
going to go on to number 2. I'm going to look at the other screen, Reece, so I won't see if you put your hand up. Right, icebreaker number 2. In a study of performance reviews, what percentage of women receive negative feedback on their personal style, such as you can be very aggressive sometimes or you can be very abrasive sometimes? And what percentage of men do you think receive the same feedback? Random
100% of my performance reviews have said that.
Yeah, from past experience.
Or that I'm manipulative. That's the other one. That I'm manipulative.
Really?
Oh, really?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
nice. I am. I enjoy being manipulative. Anyway,
I am.
that's
I
for
get
another
everyone to
day.
do what I want. What's the fucking point otherwise?
That's
Exactly.
literally what the point of having a job is, that you make people do things.
I'm in a management position and I'm being accused of being manipulative because I get people to do what I want.
Yeah, so managing people all the time, always managing people. It's
Yeah,
fucking
but that's the thing,
ridiculous.
isn't it?
Sit in
But
the corner and shut up and do your typing.
isn't that like just that speaks volumes, doesn't it? Because like
Yeah.
Hannah's class is manipulative, whereas the assumption is that, oh well, if a man's doing that, then they're being assertive and they are managing that team, to
Absolutely.
get them to do what they need to do. The output is outstanding.
Yeah,
Bringing the
it
best
is.
out in people. I mean, that's all
Oh,
manipulation
yeah.
is figuring out what somebody wants and giving them that in exchange for what you want. Like, that's
Yeah.
it.
Now you sound like some kind of stalker. So anyway.
It's a bit stalkerish. It's a bit stalkery. Yeah, the answer is that 66% of women have had feedback that said
Wow.
they were too abrasive or aggressive. 1% of men have received feedback that said they were aggressive or abrasive in a workplace
Come on,
setting.
girls, let's see if we can get that up to 100%. What are we doing out there? Come on.
Yeah, we're not being aggressive enough. It's because we're walking away from the fucking conversations every time people talk over us. That's why.
I want coffee cups thrown. I want windows put in.
If we're going to be called aggressive, let's show up fucking aggressive.
I'm going to wear sandpaper.
Let's go, girls.
Let's go, girls.
That's what Shania was talking about.
Absolutely not. Where is this call gone already? Oh no.
And now I feel like a woman throwing my own shit across the boardroom.
Yes, exactly. Oh, I feel like a woman because I'm crying in the toilet. Right, I'm going to read icebreaker number 3. Are you listening, girls? Listen. Right, what percentage of black women have never had an informal interaction with a senior leader at their company? So what percentage of black women have never spoken to their boss or been interacted with or anything? Just ignored, sat in a corner and ignored, do you think?
Oh, that's going to be...
Yeah, close.
Be high.
It is a bit higher.
I was going to say about 50%.
Yeah, you're getting closer. Yeah, it's 59%. 59, yeah, so 60%. So nearly 2/3 of black women have never spoken to the boss, had the boss say hello, or make them would you make me a cup of coffee, even anything. They just get completely ignored in the workplace. That's really sad, isn't it? That's I think that's the most sad one. Like the others, I get cross about, and I was looking at some stats, about intersectionality and women who are at those intersections of disability or color or sexuality or whatever, they get so much more shit than obviously us white ones do. But what on earth does that say? What's that comment? Is somebody leaving us some spam there? I wonder. Anyway, no, I don't know what it says. I think it's in Arabic.
It's just not English. Yeah, so racist.
No.
Wow.
No. The reason I assume it's spam, listen, is because somebody keeps commenting on all our posts trying to sell us Bitcoin in a foreign language, and it's spam. So that's why I see that and I think, oh my god, the Bitcoin person is back. So yeah, it might be the Bitcoin person. Anyway, if it's not you trying to sell Bitcoin, I apologize.
I have a question.
Anyway, go.
Are the figures that you're reading out, are they worldwide figures, or are they where are they based?
These are
from.
UK figures. These are UK figures,
Oh,
and these
really?
are produced
Wow.
by the Gender Equality Report that is published on the International Women's Day website. So I will put the link below. In fact, there is on the International Women's Day website. There's a load of resources, but the thing that I'm getting some of these facts and figures from is the workplace training. So there's like an hour presentation that you can do in the workplace to help improve gender equality, and it's actually really, really good, really impressive piece. Talks you through like various situations and stuff. So I'll put the link. I recommend going and have a look at that. But yeah, UK wide, which is bonkers, isn't it?
I think that's outstanding, and I think it's fucking disgusting, quite frankly, because it's like it's just yeah. I haven't got the words for it. Other than that, I think it's incredible. And not in a good way.
It says that 60% of women have regularly experienced microaggressions at work, and obviously women of colour, LGBTQ, women with disabilities, etc., face much more acute biases. And literally, it just say pretty much every single woman we have spoken to ever says that in the workplace at some point in their working career they have experienced sexism. So it's just universal, isn't it? It's completely universal,
and we just kind of accept it, and it's kind of low level, and then it takes for somebody to say to you, or for you to kind of do some reading or some research or to speak to other women that that's not actually acceptable. Like when I was younger and I used to work in pubs, being groped, it was just like, oh, that's the job, isn't it? That's what happens. Lol. It's banter. And then it takes you to actually sit down and think about it, to realize that that's not okay. And we're just conditioned to be amenable and accepting of it. And oh, we're so lucky that we've got a job, or I can't speak up because there's a power imbalance, or oh, you're overreacting, or you're being a fusspot, or people are going to accuse you of being a feminist if you say anything. And we just kind of put up with it. And why is it happening in a more gender balanced workplace where there are more women in the workforce than ever? Why is it still so prevalent? It's because we're not sticking up for each other, because we're not training people, on male and female, on what is and isn't acceptable behavior, and because there is an imbalance of power that means people find it difficult to stand up for themselves.
Well, it's what Reece said before, isn't it, as well, about picking your battles. If you were to go into the workplace and say every single day of my life I am going to combat sexism when I encounter it, you would be fucking exhausted and you won't get your job done, because it would just be every single day there would be something you would be having to pull someone up against. So you either every single woman, I think, makes a decision where they're like, okay, I can either fight inequality, or I can get my job done, and actually I need to pay my rent and feed my kids and stuff, so I'll get my job done. And I think it just comes down to that. It is so endemic, and it is so widespread in every sector and every age group and every workplace, that we're just like, what, I just cannot fight that battle today. I've got enough fucking shit I'm worrying about. I'm going to deal with it later, or I won't deal with it, or whatever. And it is, I think
as well. Sorry, go on.
Well, I was just going to say, I think it's only when every single one of us starts standing up for each other on the little bits and just say, oh, you don't have to behave like that. That's the only way it's going to start lessening, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think sometimes it is quite discreet, I suppose, or, it's a lot of little instances for it to actually build up. And if you fight on every single one of them, you get people stop listening to you. It's a bit like Boy Who Cried Wolf. So you do have to kind of pick the big ones, like, it's not acceptable to look down my top, or no, I'm not making the coffees just because I'm the woman. But, you might pass up being called, hysterical or something, or, silly jokes being made, because you've got to pick the one that's going to be most, I suppose, impactful, or is the most hurtful, I suppose, because that's what it comes down to. Like, we're not angry because, we are angry because it's unfair, but it's fucking hurtful. Like, if you're passed over, if your boss walks past you and doesn't look at you, or if, people make sexist comments, or if people are fucking perving on you, it hurts your feelings. It makes you feel uncomfortable.
And also, I think, as I was saying before, the purpose of us having every single year this conversation is that we can reach more people with it. Because sometimes I think women don't recognize what it is. They think, like I was thinking this morning about when I was a little girl and everyone used to say to me, "Oh, cheer up, it might never happen," or "Smile, you look so much prettier when you smile." And again, I just thought that was what Northern men said. I thought that was part of the Northern man's lexicon of conversation. And they say it to everybody. And I remember I said it to someone once. He was a man, middle-aged, he looked really miserable. And I said, "Cheer up, it might never happen." And he looked at me like, "You can't say that to me. Like, I say that to women. You don't say that to me." And it was only as I got older again that I started realizing that these things are only done to women, or only said to women. So, and I think, when you speak to a lot of younger girls now and you say, "Are you a feminist?" And they have that thing of, feminists burn their bras and what have you. That's why they say no, because they don't recognize what it is that they're experiencing. Hannah.
Have you seen that meme that's going around where it says something like, "Take straight men into a gay club and they do understand what consent means"?
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. Like, it's not that if the tables were reversed, it's not that they don't not understand what damage sexism will do to a woman's career. It's that I think perhaps they haven't thought about it, or they don't want to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they just have never been put in that position. It's as simple as that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a big thing as well. And I think a lot of it maybe comes down to generations, like the younger women that I speak to versus the older women that I've worked with. We would be a lot more in tune with it and a lot less willing to forgive it. Like I've spoken about when a student sexually harassed me by wolf whistling at me for like 4 weeks straight, and I reported it, and my female boss, who was lovely in every way and would consider herself a feminist, told me not to overreact, not to rock the boat. I think there's a generational thing as well, and I think the younger women coming up understand that a lot more, and it's up to us to kind of show them what is and isn't acceptable and what you will and won't put up with.
And also, I mean, again, we're back to that point of, if you'd have made a sexual harassment report for that, she would have had a shitload of fucking paperwork to do. And she's probably thinking, "Look, mate, I've got enough fucking work on. I've got lesson plans. I've got one kid's got snot and the other kid's got a temperature, and I ain't got time for this bollocks." And it does purely come down to that, doesn't it? A lot of the time. It's like, just don't give me one extra thing to deal with, please.
Yeah. And go on, Mish.
No. Mama's on a different topic, so you carry on. You finish off.
I think well, it's what it looks like. Like, you don't want to, especially for a school, you don't kind of want to make it public that kids are doing that, or, you don't want to be, if you were constantly tackling sexist behavior, then it looks like you've got a problem, but because you have got a problem. So if I can tackle
it. Yeah. But you would be the only school doing it, and that's not going to look good, and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Go on, Reece, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, from my perspective as well, the other part of this, or another part of it, not the other, should I say, is also that there are supporters, in the conversation, but sometimes they're also kind of almost afraid to kind of say something, or to to put to disagree with what's happening in front of them, male and female, and all genders. It's something's happening and they know that it's wrong, but also don't feel like they can actually say something or do something, or feel supported if they do. So I work with a lot of men, in the telco space, and there are some that absolutely will stick up for women, and actually are pro women in the workplace, and actually want to push that forward and really understand, the value of having, mixed teams and all female teams and things like that. But they're few and far between, quite frankly, because the other side are also like, "Oh my God, it just seems like a massive effort because, because things are questioned, or because, their mates down the pub would disagree with what they're saying, So it's like this, it's massive, really, isn't it? In terms of actually tackling it, it's,
and that's one of the that's one of the things that the International Women's Day thing recommend is actually getting men as allies. Obviously women alone are not going to change this, and so we've got to work with everybody. Has got to be a feminist, and getting that message across that the equality of women does not come at the expense of men is the starting point. But I mean, we've been hammering that drum for 70 bloody years, and we're not getting very far, are we? But again, I think even at Grow Traffic, so there's 7 women to 2 men. And we are constantly getting comments, or Dali and Jake are, about, oh my God, how henpecked must you two be? And, oh, you
working
poor
with all
things.
those women.
And, yeah, how awful. You must never get a word in edgeways and all the rest of it. And it's like, if it was one woman against 7 men, I know I would never get a word in edgeways, but as soon as the tables are turned, that's not, poor guys. How do they cope?
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. I'm just gonna quickly run through. So, just on the basis of that worksheet that I was talking about from the International Women's Day Foundation, they did have some recommendations, and we have talked about most of these. But when bias occurs in the workplace, these are ways in which you should respond. So, first of all, speak up for someone in the moment. So we've already talked about that, haven't we? Ask a probing question, and this is like one of the key tools, isn't it, of like de-escalating situations. Rather than saying to somebody, you are wrong, and you are wrong for this, and this reason, and you are then embarrassing them, and they're going to dig their heels in and blah blah blah. Instead of doing that, just leave a question that hopefully they will go away and think about. So it's interesting that you feel that way. Might you be, projecting that because she's a woman, or, something like that. So not a direct challenge, but perhaps just a little bit of a question that punctures the assurance.
Like, why do you think you're such a sexist twat?
Yeah.
I like sorry, I missed that. Can you say that again? Because it makes them stop and think, and it's like, it's very like, there's nothing else other than that. Say that again for me, dickhead. Do you know what I mean? But it's there, yeah. And the fact that everyone then actually listens, because I think that's the thing, right? There's so much noise all day, every day. If you pick something up on somebody, or pick something out and say, sorry, can you say that again? I missed that. I think it makes them think, oh, yeah, maybe that wasn't so funny.
Yeah,
absolutely. So the other ones are explain how bias is in play. So because a lot of bias that happens in the workplace is, or subconscious, unconscious. People are doing it not necessarily because they are a bad person, or they're sexist, or they're racist, or they're homophobic, but they just haven't thought about it from anybody else's point of view. And I think this is particularly true, isn't it, when you are dealing with people of an older generation that haven't grown up in the Me Too era or whatever. They just haven't thought about it from that point of view, and that means you don't have to be a twat with them, but you can just say, actually, you're not allowed to say that anymore, it's a little bit racist. Go on, Hannah.
I think yes, there are some people that will give them the benefit of the doubt, and they just don't see it. But there are a lot of people that are willfully sexist, that willfully dislike women, and obviously dislike women, and don't think that women are good at certain subjects. Don't think that, and it's not just men; it's women too. Think that women are very good in this role or that role, or she shagged her way to the top. There's an awful lot of misogyny out there. And sometimes you just need to call people out on it and say, think what you want, but that is not language, behavior, whatever, that I'm going to tolerate.
And I think that's where, in that case, you take it on a case-by-case basis, don't you? Because whether you've just got a little bumbling old man who doesn't quite understand that patting his secretary's arse is not permitted anymore, or, you've got someone who is aggressively misogynistic, and you can tell straight away which one you've got, and you're never going to win the battle probably with the misogynist, and you're just going to waste 3 hours of your life arguing with them. But yeah, that's take it on a case-by-case basis. Yeah,
but I do think there's a middle ground. People that are, people that have bias opinions towards women. It's not like, we're not talking about the people that are like really openly misogynistic, and we're not talking about the ignorance. It's that kind of gray area. Like if we were thinking about it in terms of racism, it's not the Nazis. it's the people like in the middle that are just a bit ignorant. It's that, you know, they've not kind of bothered to think about what it is that they're saying. They've not bothered to challenge their biased thinking, and they just kind of go along thinking women are bad at maths, women are bad at science, so she's it because she must have shagged her way to the top. Or, you know, God, women are making such a fuss over Me Too because that's what I read in the Daily Mail, that's what Piers Morgan says, or whatever. It's that, you know, it's that kind of idiotic, low level, like hatred of women that just pervades through the press and society and the law and politics in general.
Yeah. Oh, well, yes. I mean, well, that's cheered us up, Hannah. Thanks for that. Okay.
Yeah, so to say, can I add something in there? Because I think it's easy to point out the blatant biases. I think that's the issue, right? Because if it's obvious, like in whatever format it is, it's kind of easy to, you know, to kind of pick up on and think, okay, maybe that's not right. But I did actually spend one whole minute looking at some information about bias as a whole, because I like to, you know, if I'm going to, you know, I like to have half an idea sometimes of, you know, actually what something means, right? And I think there's like so many you know, different kind of you know, low level kind of shitty biases that are out there, from even a point of like whether you like somebody or not. Like, how do you determine that? How do you point that out to somebody? It's just there, it's inherent, right? Just like someone comes into the workplace and I don't like them just because of X. You know, they don't look like me, or they don't speak like me, or I have
some of the stats, Reece, just to interrupt you, some of the stats I was reading from that report was saying that Black women in particular are much more likely to experience that than white women. People will just say, I just don't know. There's just something about her that I don't like. And yeah, it's because she's not got the same skin color.
Right.
Yeah. That's it. It's that down to whether or not someone likes you or thinks you're competent. Absolutely.
And is that Black women over like Asian women, or is it just like BAME?
I think BAME.
I'm not supposed to say BAME anymore.
Sorry,
POC, yeah, people of colour. I think but genuinely, I think it is people of colour, isn't it? Right? Because you know there's so much, you know, assumption that comes from that, you know, straight away. And it's like, you know, I watch Mad Men like on repeat just because it's easy in the background, and like there's so much obviousness there. Like, you know, just having a Black woman that's stood next to your handbag, you know, is like the worst thing known to mankind. You know what I mean? But it's so obvious, but actually it's still there. People still do that. Do you know what I mean? And it's like it's so low level now that it's kind of like, you know, kind of swept to the side. But also there's an element of, that whole performance thing as well. You know, you've got to shout louder because, you know, or you can't be as good, or you've got to prove yourself 10 times over to be able to kind of have an intelligent conversation with somebody, you know, in the same sector as you.
There's so many statistics. The International Women's Day website links to the Gender Equality Report, actually, which I did not read the entire thing because it's massive and it's a government report, so it's boring. But some of the statistics in there were basically, you know, if you are a Black woman or a woman of colour, you are much more likely to be put under a disciplinary. You're much more likely to have your work criticised, or even just that you're much more likely to have your work checked. You're much more likely to be ignored in meetings or not invited into meetings in the first place. And the statistics are there to prove that, you know, this is not just like women of colour feel a little bit pushed out. You know, there is hard evidence that says actually they might get the job, but once they're in that position, they're not treated equally to a man that would be in that situation. So that intersectionally is worrying.
It's very difficult. But I could go on. I have to rant about this because I have been in those situations, right? Because I go into a typically white workplace, but young at the time. So therefore I'm like, oh, okay, that's just how things are. But now looking back with age, I'm like, absolutely. I was the one that was always pulled up on this, that, and the other. I got fired from that job, even though I had 3 bosses whilst I was there. I hope you're listening, you bunch of cunts. But, you know, it's there. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, I think on one hand, count myself as lucky. I'm from Leicester, you know, so therefore it was multicultural and there's all of this, that, and the other. I have zero thought about how my hair affects what I'm doing or how I'm perceived. But actually, should I? Do Do you know what I mean? Like, it's there because that's just how I am, right? I don't think about it. But has it affected me for this, that, and the other? Do people take me in a different way because of X, Y, Z? You know, and it's there. And I think it's very difficult to recognize when there's not other people around you that are like that, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So, you know, in a typically white work environment, there's, you know, I can't say, oh, it's just me, you know, or can I? I don't know. You know, it's very difficult.
No, because if you were to turn around and go, well, you're only doing that because I'm black, then
Yeah,
you
exactly.
become that stereotype in yourself,
Well,
don't
this
you?
is it. Yeah, yeah. And you don't want to be that.
person.
I just want to do my job, right? I want to do a good
Yeah.
job today. Anyway,
Yeah,
sorry.
you're right. You're right. No, well, actually that leads us on to the final point here that they've made, which is advocate for policy and process change. So, you know, obviously not everybody is confident at saying in a meeting, you just say that again, you sexist twat, or, you know, challenging people head to head. So if you can't do it that way, but you are noticing that there is a consistent thing going on, then take it to leadership, take it to management, say, this is not acceptable. I would like a change in the policy or the way that we address this or the process that happens in meetings or whatever it might be. But, you know, go at it from that side if you're not comfortable and try and get essentially some allies within the workplace that can back you up and take it with you. Hannah?
I think as well, like you could have policies coming out your ears, but I think what you need often is training and accountability and advocate for that, for training and workplace awareness. And, you know, if you need it, kind of working groups as well and support groups and things like that.
I think the biggest thing we can take away from this is be an advocate, because you know, I by myself would never have, when I was working in you know, full-time jobs and things, I would never have had the confidence to stand up and challenge somebody. But if there'd been a few of us, absolutely I would have. So that just, you know, all of us, and I think as well, there is something easier about pointing it out for somebody else than pointing it out for yourself,
For
isn't
sure.
there? I don't know why, but
I mean, I've always been the gobshite that will put my hand up or, you know, say that's not acceptable. And I think I've said before, where I used to work, I had a sexist alarm that I would say, no, it wasn't a real alarm. I'd just go Nino, Nino. But like whenever something sexist happened, I would do that. But I was the only one. And that's very intimidating as well. So, you know, back each other up. If somebody else has got the balls to say something, and you don't, fine, but then, you know, support them with that and say, actually, that wasn't on. Whether you're a man or a woman, like, it's more powerful if it comes from other men.
Yes, you are absolutely right. So we are running out of time. Time is marching on. I just want to finish by us all making some affirmations. These are printed out from the International Women's Day thing. So we will call out gendered actions and assumptions.
Affirmations. Don't ever say that. I'm not making an affirmation. That's BS.
Like, you have to go away now and you have to recite this 3 times into the mirror. Or the goddess of woman will come and give you the clap. So go and say them in the mirror, or you'll be putting yogurt on your minge. Right, here we go. Right, so we will call out gendered actions and assumptions. How are we going to do that?
Why did you put yogurt on your minge for the clap? I
don't even know what's going on. That's for another conversation, right? We should have extended it today for International Women's Day so we could go off on one. But I don't. Who says
minge? Because it itches, doesn't it? It itches and stings. It's like
it's like
it's like thrush. I've never had the clap. I've never had the clap. I'll hold my hand up.
What's all that fucking honking in your fridge for then?
Would you use honking or would you use Smart Price?
Oh, you use Smart Price. No way you'd be getting, no way, nice pure yogurt. Right, anyway, here we go.
Corner and just eats the jam and saves the yogurt for him.
Oh my God. Oh God. This is horrendous.
Girls, focus. Sorry. How are we going to do this?
Yeah, we'll affirm it. Yeah, maintain gender mindset, affirmation.
Yeah, how are we going to get everybody in our workplaces to do that?
Hey, it's good for podcast, isn't it? You holding up signs.
I know, yeah, I forgot about that. Right, this is another one then. Are you ready? We will help forge women's equality by, what are we going to do?
Sticking up for each other.
Yes. What are you going to do, Rish?
I think, well, yeah, that's the only thing I can say, really. I'll continue to be my cantankerous self as and when it suits. But sticking up for people, that's the best way, right? Call it out when you see it. If you're in a position to be able to do it and you feel that you can, then do. Because you'd be surprised at how many people will support you, actually.
Yeah. Well, as Hannah said as well, it's about not pulling the ladder up after you, isn't it? I was talking to somebody this morning about that and about like mentoring, women mentoring each other, and that, supporting, standing up for, helping the next generation. Being if you see somebody struggling, or mentor them, because that was a massive thing for me, was realizing that actually every other woman who I met when I was out networking or whatever were having just as much of a shit ride as I was. That massively demolishes imposter syndrome straight away. So mentor, support, all the rest of it. Hannah, what were you going to say?
Nothing, carry on.
Oh, right. Final one.
No, I've got something else to say first.
Go on, Rish. Go.
Something else to say on that. I think there's something to be said for, and I have to say this because you mentioned networking, right? And I think there's something to be said for being authentic, which is easier to say sometimes rather than to do, right? But anyone that's listening that goes networking, you do not have to take a saucer. Right, when you get a cup and saucer, you don't have to take the saucer. Right, everyone that I've spoken to recently is like, what is with that saucer? I end up wobbling around, I don't have a saucer, I end up spilling it all over the place, and therefore you feel uncomfortable, right? So it's like, don't put yourself in those like kind of shitty situations. Like, I don't take the saucer.
That is the best networking advice I've ever heard. Don't pick up the saucer, genuinely.
Because you're not allowed to take the spoon. That's the whole point of the saucer, isn't it?
Don't
take the saucer, man.
Because you've got no biscuit, you've got no spoon. You don't need the saucer.
Your tea bag's already out. Don't fucking take the saucer.
There you are, wobbling around. Like,
there we go. Oh, yeah. Join Rish next week for more top networking tips. Right, final one. We will # break the bias by... What are we going to do? Like practically tomorrow, we're going to walk around like this, going, push.
Don't you ever interrupt me.
I used to love Adamant.
For the benefit of those on podcast, we are crossing our arms in a forward fashion.
Yeah. We're doing the
tune Adamant.
Adamant, yeah. Loved him. I was going to marry him or Boy George. So there was a bit of a flaw in my argument there, wasn't there?
It did badly there, right? Yeah. Move on.
Anyway.
So how are we going to break the bias? So very, very practically speaking, I am going to smash the shit out of anybody that says anything mean about any other woman. And I'll say, do you want to fucking say it again, mate?
Is it because of my hair? Okay, well, I'm going to do a social media post and spread the word. I've made a video for the Seroptimists. Ding, 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 ding. Mention the Seroptimists. Yeah, so I've made a video for them, which will be released tomorrow. And generally, we'll just be carrying on everything. I've made a podcast. I've talked to loads of people about it. I've printed out some posters. There we go. Job done. Patriarchy smashed. Rish, what are you doing?
Job done. Well, you guys have done it all, so I don't have to do anything.
You just go to your kitchen and make some jam, love. You'll be right.
Well, I think it's just an ongoing thing for me. I can't take a day out to do something different. But I think personally, I sometimes also have to check myself, and actually, recognize, if something's going on and I haven't said something, or if I'm even doing it myself, because I am in that kind of, for fuck's sake, I'd rather work with men a lot of the time, and so sometimes I have to check myself on stuff too. That's it's working internally as opposed to externally.
That's such a good, because so often bias is not conscious, and we do have to just check our thought process, check our actions, make sure that we're not perpetrating it ourselves. And I think especially when it comes to younger people, I think as I'm getting older, the temptation is to mollycoddle them or baby them a bit, or just discount them for being inexperienced or shy or whatever. But actually it's just their age. It's not that they're a young woman.
can I just say as well that if you are going to take time out of your day to pull somebody up, another woman, and say you're not being very sisterly, do it in a nice way, because potentially their bias might be unconscious. They might not realise. So you don't have to be a bitch and rant at them on Facebook. You can just say, actually, maybe have you thought about it from this side? And if you are the woman on the receiving end of that, and someone has informed you of something, try not to be really prickly and try to say, okay, I didn't realise that. I'm sorry. I will do my best to change and do better going forwards. So it takes all of us. We've got to work as a sisterhood and not be so bitchy and aggressive to each other all the time, have we?
Rachel, right. That's a bias. We're not all bitchy and aggressive to each other all the time.
Oh yes, no, we all absolutely are. Yeah, women are bitches, and I'm not sure the word for men. Right, we are way over time. Way over time. Right. Thank you very much. Reish, final thought.
Oh my God, I thought that was it. I don't have any others. That's it. I'm done for today.
I do that every time.
I've excelled. I've excelled myself. Yeah, we'll go to Hannah and I'll think of something.
Okay, Hannah, final thought.
Final thought. Don't put anything up your vagina unless
wow.
Like yogurt. Don't put yogurt up your vagina. If you're itchy, go to the chemist. Or I suppose you could put crystals up if you want, but your vagina doesn't need it. Go to the chemist if you're itchy. Don't use them all. That's my public service.
That's the final thought.
Yeah, I think it needs saying. Don't go shoving Onken up there, because people might think, oh, I'm going to do that, and they're going to bugger up the vagina.
If you take nothing else away from today's session, don't pick up a saucer at a networking meeting. You don't need the saucer. There we go. That's it.
Don't bugger up your vagina, guys.
Yeah, International Women's Day sorted. There we go. Right. Thank you very much. No, none of us can. If you are watching us on Facebook, thank you so much. And thank you for commenting. And I apologize if you've left us a genuine comment in Arabic for assuming it was about Bitcoin. But anyway, it's about Bitcoin now. If you are watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you are listening to us on a podcast, please rate and review, subscribe, and tell somebody so that we get more listeners. Thank you very much, everybody. That's International Women's Day 2022 done. Patriarchy is smashed. We're off to drink gin. Fare thee well. Bye.